Scientific notation, how much greater? So this is a lesson that will come to the students. It's a digital lesson. After they have learned how to change the scientific notation, how to multiply and divide with scientific notation, and how to order numbers. So it starts out just with a definition of what scientific notation is and why we use it. And then it explains that if you want to find out how much greater one number is than another, written in scientific notation, it's just a division problem. So we're going to start with a review for the students on how to find which is greater. Okay, so the first thing you want to look at is the exponent. If one exponent's greater than the other, then you know that that number's greater. But if the exponents are the same, you look at the mantissa, or the numbers that come first, and that will determine which is greater. So they have two slides here where they have to type in which is greater. They're given two choices, and it explains here how to insert an exponent on Google Slides. So the next slide has three more. They have to determine which is greater. And then it shows how to separate this. So for the division, you take the larger, divide by the smaller. Okay, so here we divide it into two separate division problems. 9 divided by 4 and 5/10 gives you 2. 10 to the ninth divided by 10 to the third, and remember that they subtract their exponents, gives them 10 to the sixth. So they get 2 times 10 to the sixth, and then they just have to figure out what that number is in standard form. So it's 2 times a million. So one number is 2 million times greater than the other. Okay, so then they move on. They give an example. So they're going to be filling out some slides that look just like this. This is a sample problem. Which is greater? So they determine first which is greater, the one with the greater exponent. They set up their division problem, the larger over the smaller. And then they want to divide with two separate division problems. So this one, 4 and 9/10 divided by 7, will give them 7/10. And then here they subtract the exponents, will give them 10 to the second power. And then if they figure out what this is in standard form, they just move their decimal point 2 places to the right, will give them 70. So the larger number is 70 times greater than the smaller number. And they're given a few slides where they're going to do that with some different problems. Figure out which one's greater, set up their division problem, larger over smaller, do the division, and then figure out what it is in standard form. And then finally, when they get to the end, they've got a word problem, a real life example of why we use scientific notation and how to find out how much greater one is than the other. So that is scientific notation, how much is greater, digital lesson.